This first poem I wrote during an open mic at the Cargo Cafe. It was environmentally inclined, as you'll see. It's untitled. The aura of these roses on the vine, flowers long ago plucked. As grains of sand pass through my hand, the children on the shore, building castles evermore. As I watch you play with little hands, mud on mud you build fortresses strong, portals through which you look into realms of knights and dragons puff. The magic bubbles which I surrounded you, you now burst one by one, with a newfound poise, smelt of ore and coal miners' black death, evolving to E equals MC squared. And now earth's bubble bursts by spires as roses on the vine plucked evermore. This poem I wrote a long time ago. It was not one of my first. I've been writing since I was 12. I wrote this during my 30s. It's called White. I wish myself into being, broken shards of the mirror reflecting incomplete images from the wind machine. Fires still burn around the Aegean Sea. On quiet winter snow, my passage into the here and now echoes of footfalls from the past. No more Iphigenia at Naxos, impaled her shroud, scarlet and ripped shreds woven together by cognizance, form a continuous single thread which breathes and sighs of close billowing. I wrote recently, it's a happy poem. Red, orange, and lavender pansies dancing on a backdrop of green lawns. White Queen Anne lace lines the roadway. In the shade of the white birch grove, the wind is whispering velvet kisses, caressing each syllable of love.
It's not as deep as I write sometimes, I don't know. Okay. Leaving the hills behind, no peace of mind can I find alone, turning my smile into stone, like a lion on its jungle throne, I'm home.
And this one's not in the book, but you know how our last poems are always we think our best poems, and our favorite for the moment. How quickly it goes down, lonely, bored, unloved, the clown, all because of long ago, broken bits from blackened breast, not the rest. Oh, my love, to seek in others what was not then given, approval's glance has not the strength nor permanence of early nourishment. Now, nurture from the stars, then dust upon the shattered soul conjoined. But every now and then the old and tortured way returns, drunken in that misery, forgetting that a new dawn born from old torment has shone its golden light upon the tortured seed, and somehow it has blossomed. This is in the style of William Shakespeare. What fools we mortals be, that since the cord was cut, round the days and years we turn, in our trenches, in our rut. Destiny thus set a path well trodden, lest the curse be broken, then to do what is verboten, or stay the course the fates have chosen, and wrench in tears at the course's end. A life lived thusly is ill-intended, then destiny's chosen course proceeds well rendered. How hast thou spent thy years? In the main happy, or commonly in tears? And hast thou made good acquaintance with thy soul? For that is the thing, 'tis only with the grace of God, who looks upon a life so burdened, can send a blessing and good fortune, and turn misfortune's grievous tide. It's a very, very early poem. It's called Blake and I went to look in Blake's good book for a quote to enlighten jealous friends, and found instead advice to me on the folly of such ends. And what I was looking for was, who seeks those that are greater than himself, their greatness enjoys, and forgets his greatest qualities in their greater ones, is already truly great. And what I found instead was, I am no homeless hero, you all know. I profess not generosity to a foe. My generosity is to my friends, that for their friendship I may make amends. The generous to enemies promotes their ends and becomes the enemy and betrayer of his friends. Thank you.
So it's called Old Faithful. He'd smashed a lamp against the ceiling, dripping kerosene hands and ribbons of blood. His volume is finite, but it's taking forever to drain him of the fluids he wears. Water, shoelaces tied in hair, toes squishing against rocks, squeaking and flopping, sweaty water balloons tumbling from a pile, leaving snail trails across your black linoleum. You could just scrape it off with your squeegee stick or scrub it off with the grease side of Scotch-Brite pads in the shower like when you were 12, but sometimes some things are best left up to evaporation. He wants to dribble in your funnel like Drano, a caustic substance you want him to pop. He says you'll drop him like firecrackers or pour acid on his face like some second-grade fire goddess. Real volcanoes don't smell like vinegar and they don't clean tarnish from silver, but they do leave hot steam droplets on your glasses, making you wonder why the hell you even wanted to see this in the first place. He thinks sexuality, the Himalayas, and you, a Sherpa guide, know all the passes, and somehow something like your lung capacity makes you better suited to the altitude. He'll always use that biological argument. Masking your lower body strength, you rely on sheer elbow grease and endurance. He transfers the momentum back to your mouth with gummy lips and staccato breath, where your eyes meet and don't blink and don't get distracted by hair sticking to beads on foreheads. Or when he fumbles for your flying misses, useless, clammy, shaking fingers flopping against each other like uncooked blood sausages on a plate during a pre-shot. He compares you to lilies, to flowers, to streams and babbling brooks. Water, he says you are endless, just like this moment of continuity, a strictly bound infinity. He confesses his desire to be a creator. He states that the entire history of male invention was but an experiment in womb envy. Babbling like an idiot savant. You want to kick him, but don't. With his gasp, you know it's the beginning of the end of this moment. He becomes solid again, drawn in, dead weight in his bleariness. You trace spirals in the sweat on his chest as he turns away, collapsing into sleep. And this, more than anything else, makes you cross your legs tightly. You know, last time he wrote about dreams in which he'd been shipwrecked by sirens and he blamed the island for having a shoreline. You know he leans on male authors' mythology when logic fails him. Maybe now he's dreaming his secret fear that you could turn him into Old Faithful with your euphoric cucumber scrub. And maybe he thinks that all the world needs now is love, sweet love, but in lieu of that he'll take a hand job and run. But does he look back at where he leaves those puddles? Alright, this one's March 2000. March 2000, you strung out on my phone line an ocean and a half away, saying if I ever loved you, I should send you money. 1,000 excuses and explanations, and my poverty answers for me. You broke that promise we made, two pagan fairy lovers in the garden of Menental whispering. I'll never resent you. I'll never regret you. Big words for such small lives. I never did learn what happened to those pots encrusted with burnt baked beans, and the smoke-scorched trailer with ripped-off toilet seats, and endless silver spoons blackened and bent. I never asked. I didn't want to know. I'll never resent you. I'll never regret you. Big words for such small lives. I still hear echoes of your complaints against my smoke rings and ashes scattered by young thumbs. Your hair smelled of scalded rubber and sweat from eating more than you can take, but I held you all the same. You, shaking and writhing in my arms, they were not strong enough to keep you. If only one could kill a lover with forehead kisses, gentle words, and tears enough to flood the bridges between the self and selfishness, we would have parted long after death. I'll never resent you. I'll never regret you. Big words for such small lives.